Hi, this is Phil from PDQ Merchant Enterprises and ATM Mastermind Group. We're here today to talk about 5 things that you don't think about before you set up a business. The first thing, how significant the name is. Oftentimes, people just pick a name either off their own personal name or a random name out of a hat. So you have to be very specific in what you do when picking a name. How does that name relate to your business? Sometimes what people want to do is they want to incorporate whatever they do into the name. When I first started my first business, I just picked a couple letters. And back in those days, I picked an S and I picked a P. And back in those days, 25 years ago, when I first started my first business, what happened is the only way that we advertised was through the phone book. So I picked an S, and when we went through the phone book, my name was almost on the bottom. So people, when they look for our services, what they did is they went to the first couple names. That's why oftentimes you'll see AAA countertops or A+ vending or A+ landscaping. That's so they can get their name up in the phone book back, and that's how we used to advertise back then. Right now it's Google and Yahoo and social media. But so you want to be very conscious of what your name is and how to do your name, because your name is going to be associated with advertising, something that you don't usually think about. The second thing is, do I incorporate or not? When you pick the name and then you go to incorporate your business, sometimes that name is already taken. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you pick the name isn't already taken, because then you make all these fancy the stationery, and you go out for a year or two with that name, and then you go to incorporate and you figure out, oh my goodness, it's already taken that name, and now you have to start all over. And then you also got to make sure when you incorporate or not, what's the benefits if I incorporate? What am I missing if I don't? Usually when you incorporate, what you have is you have a bigger tax savings and a bigger savings when you incorporate. If you rely on your non-incorporating, then what happens is all the money goes into your personal income. The third thing is, who are the owners of the business? If you're married, most people say, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my wife on the partnership or the corporation. And you don't want to do that, not necessarily, not to slight your spouse, but you want to, all their past indiscretions, bad credit, or challenges in their past now become yours. Your wife or your spouse could still own that business because you are married. However, you might want to just simplify things and don't put them on that business. Also, if you have partners, you want to make sure that those partners their indiscretions or past history don't come back to bite you when you go forward in business. Maybe they had bad credit. Maybe they had a bankruptcy. Maybe there was some people that there was something that they did that now going forward is going to have you have a challenge. So you just want to make sure that whoever you decide to go in business with, whenever you do, that you try to limit all your liabilities. The fourth thing you want to do is the address of the business. You're just starting out. Where do I put the address? A lot of people make the mistake is if they're living in an apartment or if they have a condo or a house, they put the address of the business at that same spot. And then a year or 2 years down the road, they decide to move. Now all that stationery, all that information was directed to that address. And now you moved. And you might move 2 or 3 more times. So you want to be real conscious of where you want to put the address. And number 5 is the business phone number. What kind of business phone number do I do? You want to make that business phone number pretty much the same number, consistent for majority of your business. Companies fight desperately to keep that number. So what you want to do is you don't want to just set it up on a cell phone that you have. When I first started my business, I set it up on a residence phone number, and then we moved, and back in those days you couldn't move the number, so I lost that business. So everybody who I built years and years of business up, and then what happened is when I moved, I lost the number. So what you want to do is you want to set up a number, pick a number that's going to stay with you in your mind for maybe 10, 20, 30 years. for the business. That'll drive traffic, and in business what we want to do is be very consistent. So when you do this, make sure that this is something that you're going to keep for a long time. Again, this is Phil from PDQ Merchant Enterprises and the ATM Mastermind Group. You can look at the link below. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hope these tips are helpful. Thank you very much.